Hello everyone and welcome. Here we are at Unit 12, the final one in your Introduction to Management course. Over the last 12 weeks you've studied a number of various units, and this week we wrap up by looking at business roles in a complex world. When we look at the world in which business operates, it is far more complex than perhaps we imagined or anybody could have imagined some 50 years ago. We commence by going back to ethics and looking at ethical relativism. Now, ethical relativism is a little bit that saying that we have, when in Rome, do as the Romans. So we actually investigate that and say, is that good enough? Is that what we really should be using? We look at complexity and stakeholders. Now, stakeholders were introduced way back, Unit 6 and 7, but now we're actually sort of saying you have to consider stakeholders more broadly and the impact on them as we operate in a complex world. We also look at the balance that's required in business roles, that business roles are not singular and that they're not just exclusive, that the balance that's required between business, its role in society, the complexity of this world, it requires us to think more broadly and liberally at all times. Overall, looking at this course, we review back at how each unit has linked to each other. This is a really important part of your studies. To get that deep learning, you have to think about how these units link together. This linking together can really inform and expand your knowledge, and also how you apply that knowledge as you're starting to answer more complex questions and as you're developing your management skills. I really recommend not only taking the grid out of the course materials, but sitting down and actually taking a list of the units and actually saying, how do they relate to each other? This can also be really handy in your exams. Our study unit this week finalises by looking at how to review for the exams. Now, your exams will be coming up, and in this course we use an open book exam. So a few pointers for you. Make sure that you have about a page or two at most for every unit that you've studied across the course. No point taking in all your course materials, you're just not going to have time to look through them. You need to know the key concepts and how they inform your actions, but you're not going to need to write out a model. Nobody's going to say to you, what was this model? We might say, using that model, think about it in this way. If there's any specific readings or any specific models that you need to know about, you will be given some advance notice to take that in with you to the exam. So planning for an open book exam, get your 12 units, condense them down to somewhere between 12 and 24 pages, take those in with you, knowing how they link to each other. Make sure that you've read the readings, you've got some summaries of readings to go back to. Think about each unit. What was it we wanted you to know? How has that impacted your thinking, and how does it inform your practice as a manager and in management? That's really what the exam is going to ask you to do. Take your watch in, make sure that you divide your time equally amongst the questions. Every question is equally as important. So don't only answer 2 questions if there's 3, you need to do all the questions and give them equal importance, because the marks will be evenly split for this exam. I wish you well as you continue in your studies in MBT, and hope that you found ITM to be a solid foundation to the rest of your studies in this program. Bye for now.